Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm your host, Todd Blackstock. We have a fun show for you today as the two-time national champion St. Louis Surge owner and general manager Khalia Collier joins us in studio to discuss the upcoming season. And we're happy to have with us McCluer South Berkeley Athletic Director Keith Rhodes, whose Bulldogs have recently been inducted into the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. And reporter Melanie Steen has a story about how boxing is helping some of our city's youth. So stay tuned for this and much more coming up next on Inside Sports. And welcome to the show. Our first guest today is the athletic director at McCluer South Berkeley. He's taking the baton from Rod Staggs, and joining us right now is Keith Rhodes. Keith, thank you so much for joining us in Inside Sports.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Let's talk a little bit about Rod Staggs, because he was a track and field coach for a long time, a legendary individual, and you had the chance to learn from him and work with him and eventually take the baton from him.
Well, Rod Staggs, he was a disciplined and detailed person. And when I'm talking about details, he kept a record of the temperature, the wind gauge, and the times on practices. So he knew everything from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, and we're talking about years from 20 to 30 years.
Wow. One thing that I thought was pretty cool, just doing a little research on Rod, was he didn't call his team boys and girls, did he?
No, he referred to everyone as men and women because he expected them to live up to those expectations.
Fantastic. Now Rod was actually inducted into the Missouri Hall of Fame 2 years ago after tremendous success. But the McCluer South Berkeley whole team was inducted just a month or so ago into the Missouri Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Keith.
Thank you very much. In fact, I attended Rod Staggs' induction, and it was huge. But this past January, with 114 guests, McCluer South Berkeley and Berkeley represented us extremely well.
Now tell us about some of the individuals that were also being enshrined at the same time, because it was quite a crew in the 2019 inductee ceremony.
Well, I got to meet quite a few of them, and I would say the two that stood out the most were Jeff Suppan, because I'm a Cardinal fan, and also Ryan Howard. And Ryan Howard and I, we had conversations throughout the induction, and especially right before we went into the Hall of Fame building.
Well, let's talk about the championships your squad has done. I mean, the 28 total team championships. Can you break that down for me?
Well, in fact, the boys have 16 and the girls have 12. And the majority of the people in the area, they think of what's going on lately. So they thought that actually the girls had more championships because we won 4 in a row from 2008 to 2010, and then 2007 to 2010. Then we won consecutive 2016 and 17. So they thought that the girls had more of the championships, but it's actually the boys, because Coach Staggs, he had a lot of championships from 1980 to 2003.
And when you talk about 28 championships, that's selling the school short, because that's 28 team championships. Now, there's been over there's hundreds of individual state champions, haven't there been?
Yes, it's actually, I really don't even have the number because it's been so many. We have so many athletes, one in particular, Alicia Ursery, who I used to call her the Jackie Joyner on the Missouri side, because she won, it's the maximum number of medals you can get is 16. And she won 15 gold medals out of 16. And the only time she received a silver medal was her freshman year in the 4x4. She never lost in the open event, 100, 200, and 400, all 4 years.
Wow, that's amazing. We had an opportunity to actually do a story on Alicia Ursery back in 2007. And I asked her, I said, hey, you want to race in a 50-yard dash? And she says, yeah, sure, why not? So I thought, I came out of the blocks and I was, I was doing pretty good. And then about 20 yards in, I pulled a hamstring, and that's how she beat me. And that's my story, and I'm gonna stick to it.
I don't blame you. She made quite a few people pull hamstrings.
Now, she was also very good academically. She was a star in the classroom as well, wasn't she?
Yes, in fact, she and her sister, Ashley, they were both actually in my advanced pre-calculus class.
Wow.
And so they did extremely well. She was the #2 student, and actually, Ashley as well was a top 4 student in the class. And in fact, 2008, out of the top 10%, which ranged from about 15 students, the track team had about 12 of the 15.
No kidding. And there's always a balance between being a great student athlete
Yes.
and then being a student as well and an athlete, because there's always the rigors of training and competing and running, and then you got to do your homework too. So what's the best way as the athletic director now and former coach, what do you tell the students on how to balance that whole schedule out?
Well, one thing, I give them examples, because when I was an assistant coach under Rod Staggs, I remember in particular in 2000, I was a math coach of many of the students that were on the track team. And we would actually be at a track meet, and in between long stretches where they were not running, they would be sitting there with a book open, doing homework and asking me questions. And so whenever they would see me, they knew that whether it was practice or what, that the book work came first. And so that's what I always tell them. Now, the one thing that I do tell them, do not use books as an excuse to get out of practice, because that means that you are not preparing well. And so, but if it's something that is a last minute, then the coaches are gonna make adjustments, and you're gonna make sure that you take care of your books first.
When I was in college at Southeast Missouri, I served as an assistant sports information director for a year with the baseball team. And they took long road trips, and they played a little cards here and there on the bus, but a lot of them did their homework. You'd have hours to read books, so that would seem to be a good time, maybe during the traveling situation, that you can study a little bit there and have some fun as well.
Well, it's always good to have educators as coaches as well. And so Rod Staggs, he was a teacher at Berkeley at the time. So he understood the importance of education. And so, and even now, I would prefer to have educators on the coaching staff, but the bottom line is, when I'm trying to figure out who's going to be the best coach for my students, I'm just looking for the best person who can do the best job.
Now, you don't think of a lot of track athletes as, you go on and, hey, I'm going to, go on and be a professional track star, like Usain Bolt or somebody, and make a lot of money. I mean, you can do endorsements and things like that, but running track is an opportunity and an avenue to get a college degree, isn't it? I mean, it would seem to be a tremendous platform to travel and to get an education.
Well, it's kind of ironic that you mentioned Usain Bolt, because we do have a present track runner who's a professional runner who runs against Usain Bolt, and that's Mike Rogers.
Wow.
And so he's been on the U.S. team the last 2 Olympics. And so unfortunately, he was a part of the 4x1 that was disqualified, but he graduated from Berkeley, and ironically, he's Ashley and Alicia's brother.
No kidding. That's
Yes.
some genes there, huh?
Yes, but you said the correct thing. It is an avenue to college. And in 2008, my last year, Ashley and Alicia's last year, both of them went on to the University of Florida, and then also someone else who was a part of that same team went to the University of Tennessee. And they were academic All-Americans in college.
That's big time. Who are some of the other big names that came out of McCluer, South Berkeley, or Berkeley before that?
I would say LaVar Miller, he went to the University of Arkansas. Willie Moore went to the University of Mississippi. The biggest name is Mike Rogers, since he's made the U.S. team, and still at, I believe, the age of 34, he is still competing and winning.
Now, there was a pretty big celebrity that made a nice contribution to your athletic program. Can you tell us about that?
Well, the Ellen Show, they donated $25,000 to our football team because although McCluer, South Berkeley, and Berkeley, we are known for track, our football team has done exceptionally well. And it came as a surprise because they didn't even know that they were going to receive the money. And I had to try to coordinate that, and she popped up on the screen, and they were completely surprised. But she told them that she was donating the $25,000, and they brought in this huge check. And so the football team really appreciated it.
I broadcasted a football game that week when McCluer, South Berkeley, and the head coach said, there's no reason none of these guys will not get a date to prom or homecoming or whatever it was. Talk about this year's team. We got a couple minutes left. Who should we look forward to this 2019 squad coming up?
Well, we have
And the coaches.
Our coaches. This is going to be the first year for Coach Walker. He's taken over for Coach Martise Scott. So Coach Walker is going to be our new girls coach. Coach Dabney is still the boys coach. And we have a few veteran runners. Keys, he's been running, Adrian Keys has been running all 4 years, and he's done exceptionally well. He's already signed along with Nathan Smith is going to be a huge runner on the boys' side. On the girls' side, Mornisha Portos, she's going to do exceptionally well along with Nia Moore.
It's been 4 years now since the Ferguson situation, the Michael Brown. It seems like the healing is going on. It seems like things are going good over there. The community is rebuilding, and things are going well over there. Can you comment on that?
Well, pretty much through almost any tragedy in America, sports has been the healing factor. And so that's what we tried to do during that period of time. We tried to make sure that we were bringing the community together. We were welcoming everyone to come to the games and to just have a relaxing period where temporarily you can forget about some things and just try to enjoy the games.
Keith, thank you so much for stopping by Inside Sports. We appreciate it.
Thank you, and I really appreciate everything.
Well, from the track to the ring, Inside Sports reporter Melanie Steen tells us why some youngsters in the city have chosen boxing over some of the other mainstream sports. Let's take a look.
While most 10-year-olds are watching cartoons, playing video games, or with toys, it's easy to see why the kids who compete in this South City boxing program are not at all average.
All right, get in position. Get in position.
Then my mama asked me did I want to play football, boxing, or basketball, and I chose boxing.
Montrez McIntyre is just 10 years old. He started in the boxing program at age 7, and he's already looking ahead.
I want to pursue it as an adult. I want to turn pro.
So you think when you grow up you want to be a boxer?
Yes, ma'am.
Montrez has a brother, Montez, who's also in the boxing program. But the person he really looks up to is his coach. Coach Tracy, what's it like to work with him?
Good.
How?
Because he teaches me good stuff when I'm in my fight.
14-year-old Kiana Jones attends Roosevelt High School. She started in the program when she was just 10 years old. So what do you love about it so much?
Sometimes I relieve stress, but I like it.
Kiana tells me she has not had any broken bones in the 4 years she's been competing, but she has been hit in the face. After that, it didn't take too long to start protecting herself from those hits. As a dad, especially, do you ever worry about her as far as injuries or anything?
No,
Why not?
because she got a good coach. She listens.
On the next Inside Sports, we'll introduce you to the coach behind the kids. Coach Tracy Henderson has worked with more than 700 youth in our area. And when you meet him, you'll understand why he's so tough and why the kids wouldn't have it any other way. I'm Melanie Steen reporting.
Thanks, Melanie. Well, boxing can sure be a great outlet to burn energy and stay off the streets. Well, St. Louis's professional women's basketball team has won 2 national championships and is set to embark on a new journey here in 2019. Let's take a look at your St. Louis Surge. Surge basket number 15, Bella, 2 points. And joining us now, coming into the 8th season as owner and general manager of your St. Louis Surge, we welcome Khalia Collier.
What's going on, Todd?
How are you, Khalia? Great to have you with us.
I'm doing awesome.
You know, what does it feel like when you get to see some highlights of the St. Louis Surge and the tremendous success you've had over the years?
My energy just gets that much more live. I'm so ready for Surge season.
You know, Surge season is awesome. I can't wait. I think I'm going into my 7th season.
It's the 7th season. We're trying to get you another ring.
You're going to try to give me another ring? That was pretty cool of you. You know, I wish I would have pulled that picture up. You know, that you and I holding up the ring, because that was a special moment for me, getting a ring from a professional franchise. And, you know, you have a lot of great soirees at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. And I know each year you really like to throw a party to get the season rolling.
Well, one, there is no Surge atmosphere without Todd Blackstock. You set the tone for what our fans experience. Our players love you. I love you. And you're just a part of that experience to make it an incredible special event. So, Todd, thank you from the start. Because as we head into our 8th season, this is a milestone year for us in general, and the support that we've been getting from the city has been incredible.
It's been incredible, and this is a very special year this year. And opening day, you have like great parties this year. We'll start about the party. Where are you going to kick things off this year?
We're going to kick it off. We're excited to announce for all of our season ticket holders and sponsors, we're going to be back at Westport Social in May. So stay tuned for that special release date and that invitation. And then we're ready to kick off the season. We have a lot of new announcements. It's been a lot of change in the off season as we've been growing and preparing for the upcoming season. So a lot to look forward to.
Opening day for the St. Louis Surge is so exciting. It's tremendous. It's usually one of the biggest crowd, if not the biggest crowd of the year, is opening day. And this year's opening day is very special. We've got a nice roll in here to commemorate why this is so important and special in 2019.
That's awesome.
So tell us about why it's so special.
You know, this is our 100th game celebration. The milestone that we've hit is incredible. One, we're in our 8th season. For our 3rd season at WashU, we're announcing a new coaching staff. We have an incredible returning roster of players, with not to mention the new recruits that we've been working hard. But what this means for us in the city of St. Louis is incredible. You know, this is my day in particular to make sure that we have all of our dignitaries. We want 3,000 fans plus to be at WashU celebrating with us as we're officially making this Powerhouse Women's Empowerment Day for our 100th celebration. So this will be the game that everyone wants to be at for sure.
Yeah, it's always so exciting. I mean, the different activities. You've got face painting, and you've got, DJ Vaughn out there. And speaking with Chris Mitchell, the sports information director for WashU, he says that the athletic director, Anthony Ozma, Randy Henderson, the women's basketball coach there, the men's team, they come out and they're at those Surge games. Yeah. And sometimes they're a little jealous because, the atmosphere there is so rowdy, and you can't do things like that in the NCAA, what you can do in professional basketball.
You know what? One, the support that we receive from WashU administration, the coaching staff, the educators there has been phenomenal. They're so happy to have us on campus. But the experience that we draw from our fan base, I mean, we truly draw town and country in St. Louis City in one spot, and no one blinks an eye. And it reflects in our fan base, our demographics, and its energy. Our games are a full event. It's an experience. You're smiling whether we're winning, losing, and hopefully we're winning and we're getting the crowd engaged.
Yeah, it's really neat how you go out and you get a lot of dignitaries around the city of St. Louis and the region to come out to your games and maybe help with the opening tip-off or do something at halftime.
This season, we're going to have some star power. So you heard it first. You can expect a lot of celebrities in the building on home opener. A lot of support to see us now as the women's professional team recognized by the city, and having the support of having a Surge Day is a pretty big deal.
Well, there's a Surge Day now.
I'm working on it, Todd. So
I'm sure that's going to happen.
I plan to make that happen.
With your connections. Let's take a look at some of the returning people. Some of the players that have been with the team for several years now. Some more than others. But we're going to kick things off with Rebecca Harris. Rebecca Harris is back this year, and why is she so important?
Rebecca is our captain. She's our veteran. She's been the heart of our organization. There's no one that works harder than Rebecca. Her ability to command the floor, to engage our fan base, and what she does in the community on and off the court, she's really been the pulse of the Surge. So to have her back returning this season really it sets the tone for what we're going to accomplish this year. And then you go into Jaleesa Butler. Jay has been with us for now headed into her 8th season. Georgetown University, everyone loves watching Jaleesa. We're excited to have her back and really create her legacy in St. Louis as a hometown veteran.
Brittany Carter is coming back, University of Illinois.
Britt with that smile, people love watching Brittany play. Incarnate Word alumni. She's really built her own fan base here in St. Louis. Is coming out and seeing her play and just have so much fun. We're excited to rally around her this season and to bring the captains back.
You mentioned the smile, and then
KB.
And there, here we go, Christy Belloc, Texas A&M, big body underneath, bangs it around.
You don't get a better shooter than KB. You don't get a better person on and off the court. We have just such a great culture. People here that, every team wants to be a family, but it's different when you embody it, and she definitely commands that on the floor as well.
She can rebound and she can shoot.
And then we have the rookie coming back, Kelsey McCluer. To have her now as making St. Louis hometown from Oklahoma, she's learned a lot from Rebecca. We're expecting big things from her this season.
And if you had a retirement, Bianca is now. Last night I was like, what is her last name? I was just
Bianca
thinking about
Latham
it.
now.
Yeah, Bianca Latham now. And so for many 5-6 years saying Bianca back, and then to change it to Latham, it caught me off for the first couple of games. But her family was so supportive of the team, and she had a nice run, and and some of your players like Gabriella Green, they go on into coaching. What's next for Bianca?
You know what? Bianca is actually, she's 7 seasons. She actually built what the Surge player should look like. Her attitude and what she's been able to do in the community. The Beck family will forever always be Surge fans. And what we can stay tuned, there's always alumni involved. Bianca's still working very much so with our front office staff and is a part of a lot of the decision making that we're making with our coaching staff as well.
And part of the other staff. I mean, some of your former players are involved with the game day activities as well.
To have Michaela, who won a national championship with us, now in the front office running in-game entertainment for us. I'm almost always reverse recruiting, and the talent that we're able to pull on the court, but to hear what they do off the court is just as impressive.
I tell you, it's been quite a run. Tony Condra, many seasons with the Surge. He got you a ring. The last 2 seasons, you guys lose we lose the national championship on a buzzer, a ball rolling off the rim 2 years in a row. How do you cope with that?
1 point. What it does, it creates quite the anticipation into 2019. We carry over some tremendous momentum, and we learned a lot along the way. And so it gave us a chance to make some adjustments in the offseason to build and prepare to go into a new direction this year.
So Tony's moved on to Cardinal Ritter. He's doing an outstanding job with the women's team there. And any inside track on who's going to be the next coach of the St. Louis Surge?
We're excited to make that announcement here in just a couple of weeks. We're in our final interview process right now with 2 incredible candidates, but we have a front runner that I can lead to. In the leadership that we're turning the corner as we now enter a new platform and elevate the Surge in general, it's the right time.
What about the Surge season? We've got June's going to be jam-packed with St. Louis Surge. Talk about some of the different promotions and season tickets.
Absolutely. Home openers are Ameren Day, and we're expecting, again, a sold-out crowd. We have tickets live right now in MetroTix, and we're going to have a ton of giveaways. So following that weekend, we're going to be Power Up Pink with Siteman Cancer Center. Then we're back-to-back for the first time in Surge program history for a Saturday-Sunday game. For our Heroes Night, for our Team Spirit Night with the Blues and the Cards, and then we're going to close the season with Surge Nation Appreciation. So that's going to be, everyone knows when you come to a Surge game, you're going to leave smiling and with something in your hand.
Fantastic. Well, Khalia, thank you so much. Any final thoughts? Season tickets, Westport Social.
Season tickets are, lastly, they're almost out. So stlsurgebasketball.com. We want to make sure you buy your tickets home opener.
There's some perks to that.
You're going to be sad if you don't, and you're a VIP. To get free food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet the team, myself, the coaching staff early is you don't want to miss the chance.
Khalia, thank you so much, and we're going to have a great year. We want to see all of you out at WashU for the tremendous excitement of the St. Louis Surge basketball this summer. Well, that's our show for today. I'm Todd Blackstock. I'd like to thank our whole crew for doing an outstanding job, and we'd like to thank you for listening and watching STL TV Experience St. Louis. We'll see you next time.